Welcome to the Taste China Learn English Deep Dive.
Thank you. It's so great to be here for this.
Yeah, I'm excited. So I want you, our listener, to just close your eyes for a second. Imagine you're standing on a busy city street corner right in the early morning.
Oh yeah, the best time for street food.
Exactly. There's, a bit of a chill in the air, but right in front of you is this huge hot iron pan. You hear the loud, sharp crackle of oil sizzling.
That sound is just unmistakable.
It really is. And then you breathe in the incredible rich smell of frying dough and like roasted green onions. Today, we are using that exact mouth-watering street food experience to help you learn some truly delicious English vocabulary.
Delicious vocabulary is the best kind.
Right. So, we are talking about a famous Chinese street food superstar today, the shredded pancake or, bing.
It's honestly the perfect subject for today. And to our listener, I just want to say welcome because our focus today is on learning English. We're going to keep our conversation at a very comfortable, clear pace.
Yeah, nice and slow.
Exactly. We'll use natural spoken English, but we will make sure to, clearly define and spell the new words as we go. It's just a really fantastic way to practice your listening skills while we explore the culture and the science behind this culinary masterpiece.
I love that. We are in no rush today. So let's look at this hot round pastry we just pictured on the grill. In English, we usually see, well, two common names for this.
Right, depending on where you go.
Yeah. You might see it called a hand-shredded pancake or a flaky scallion pancake. And that actually gives us our very first and maybe most important vocabulary word, flaky.
Flaky, that is Flaky. This is just an essential word anytime you're talking about baking or pastries.
Oh, totally.
When we describe a food as flaky, we basically mean that it's made up of dozens of incredibly thin, delicate layers.
And they kind of fall apart, right?
Yes, exactly. These layers come apart very easily when you pull at them or, when you take a bite.
I just love the texture of flaky foods. It almost makes me think of an old, really thick book.
What, it's a book?
Yeah, you know how you can easily bend back the pages and they separate just one by one? A flaky pancake is like, it's just like peeling apart the pages of a small, delicious, savory book. You can just pull one thin layer off at a time.
That is actually a really great way to visualize it. If you want a Western food comparison for our listener, think about a French croissant.
Oh, of course. A fresh croissant is famous for being perfectly flaky.
Right. When you bite into it, the outside kind of shatters into 100 little pieces, and you see all those thin layers of dough inside.
Yeah, it's so good.
The shredded pancake is very similar structurally, but instead of being sweet and buttery, it's savory. So it's salty, and it's packed with a rich, earthy flavor of scallions.
Which are green onions, just for anyone wondering.
Yes, exactly. Green onions.
But wait, how does a street vendor actually make it flaky? Because, I mean, if I just mix flour and water and throw it on a hot pan, I just get a solid brick of bread. I definitely don't get layers.
Well, it's all about the preparation technique. The vendor takes a large piece of dough and brushes a very thin layer of oil all over it.
Okay, oil.
Yeah. Then they roll that dough up tightly into a long rope and they coil it around itself, kind of like a snail shell before flattening it out again.
Oh, I see. So the oil acts as a barrier. It stops the dough from just sticking to itself.
Precisely. The oil traps the layers, and when that dough hits the hot iron pan, the water inside the dough turns to steam.
Ah, of course. The heat makes steam.
Right. The steam pushes outward, forcing those oiled layers apart from the inside. That is what creates that beautiful flaky structure.
That is amazing. So, okay, we have this flaky texture throughout the whole thing, but the outside of the pancake and the inside of the pancake are actually very different from each other.
Very different, yes.
And this brings us to two more really great descriptive words. The outside of the pancake is crispy, crispy, crispy. And the inside is doughy, doughy, gooey.
Let's break those down for the listener. Crispy means the surface is hard, firm, and usually cooked until it's a nice golden brown.
Like it has a crunch to it.
Exactly. When you bite into something crispy, it makes a loud crunching sound. It offers resistance.
Right, like a potato chip. A potato chip is very crispy.
Perfect example. But the inside of this pancake is doughy. Doughy means it's soft, warm, and, just a little bit chewy.
So it feels more like the inside of a freshly baked loaf of bread.
Yes, exactly like that. The high heat of the pan fries the outside very quickly, which makes it crispy, but the inside basically steams in its own moisture, keeping it nice and doughy.
I've always wondered about this actually. It's fascinating that a simple dough can be both crispy and doughy at the exact same time. Is that contrast what makes it so universally loved?
It absolutely is. Human beings are, well, we're hardwired to love textural contrast in our food. Think about it from a sensory perspective, right?
Okay, how so?
If a meal is entirely soft, like a bowl of plain oatmeal, it can feel a bit boring to eat after a while.
Yeah, that's true. It gets repetitive.
Right. And if a meal is entirely hard, it's literally tiring for your jaw to chew. But when you put the two together, when your teeth break through a crispy, crunchy exterior, then immediately sink into a soft, doughy center,
It's just the best feeling.
it is. It sends a massive reward signal to your brain. It makes the physical act of eating really exciting.
It's the best of both worlds, really. You get the loud crunch and then that comforting soft chew. But, as amazing as that crispy and doughy base is, it's really just the beginning, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. It's just the foundation.
Right. It's essentially an edible plate just waiting for art.
Right.
If we're standing at that street stall, we have to decide what actually goes inside it.
Yes, a perfect base needs the right filling. When you order your food, the vendor's going to wait for you to customize it. And in English, when we talk about adding things to a meal, we generally divide them into two big categories:
Okay, what are they?
toppings and condiments.
Those are incredibly useful words for any restaurant situation. Let's start with toppings. Toppings. Toppings.
So, toppings are the solid food items that you add to your main dish. They add physical substance like protein or vegetables, making the meal heavier and just more filling.
Okay, so traditionally, what kinds of toppings does a vendor offer?
Well, a very classic choice is a fried egg. The vendor will literally crack an egg right onto the hot pan and press the flat dough right on top of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You might also ask for a slice of ham or maybe some shredded lettuce.
Oh, I am definitely adding the shredded lettuce. By the way, shredded just means it's cut into very thin, long strips.
Yes, exactly.
And because everything else on the grill is so hot and oily, that cold, fresh lettuce adds a completely new type of crunch to the warm pancake. It balances it out perfectly.
It's all about balance. But there is another topping that has become incredibly popular in recent years, and that is cheese.
Cheese.
Yes. Adding a slice of cheese totally transforms the pancake because the cheese becomes melty. M-E-L-T-Y. Melty.
Melty. That is such a fun word. And it means exactly what it sounds like. The solid cheese gets hit by the heat, starts to melt, and turns into this rich, soft, thick liquid.
It is delicious.
But wait, I have to ask you about this. I mean, I love cheese, but isn't it a bit surprising to find cheese in a traditional Chinese street food? It's a very Western ingredient, isn't it?
It is a Western ingredient, yes. But street food culture is incredibly adaptable. It's never frozen in time. It's always evolving.
That makes sense.
The vendors are just very practical and creative.
Mm.
They realized that the trapped heat inside a freshly cooked scallion pancake is basically a mini oven.
Oh, so it's the perfect environment for melting a slice of cheese.
Exactly.
And practically, it works really well, right?
Yeah.
Because the melty cheese acts almost like an edible glue.
Yes, that's a
Yeah.
great way to put it. It acts like a warm blanket that binds the egg, the ham, and that crispy dough all together so it doesn't just fall apart when you try to eat it.
So it's a completely natural fusion of Eastern technique and Western ingredients.
Driven entirely by one simple rule: it tastes really good.
The vendor is basically a flavor engineer just trying to make the ultimate breakfast. Okay, so we have our heavy, solid toppings. We've got the egg, the ham, the cheese.
Right.
At this point, the pancake is going to taste very rich and heavy. So to balance out all that richness, we need a punch of sharp flavor. And that brings us to our second category, right? Condiments.
Yes, condiments. Condiments. While toppings give a food physical substance, condiments give a food its extra flavor and moisture.
So like sauces.
Exactly. Condiments are usually sauces, pastes, liquids, or even powders. In a Western context, think of things like ketchup, mustard, or salt.
Got it. So for our Chinese shredded pancake, what condiments are the vendors usually reaching for?
There are usually two standout choices on the cart. The first is a sweet flour sauce. This is a thick, dark, really glossy sauce.
Sounds amazing.
It is. It's deeply savory, but it has this wonderful sweet finish. It balances out the saltiness of the ham perfectly.
And the second one is chili paste.
Right. Yes. Chili paste.
Yeah.
A thick red sauce made from crushed hot peppers and oil.
That is what gives the pancake a spicy kick to wake you up in the morning. So just to make sure our listener has this clear, a fried egg is a topping because it's a solid food that fills you up.
Right.
But sweet flour sauce is a condiment because it's just a liquid used to add flavor.
Precisely. You build the architecture of the meal with your toppings, and you decorate the meal with your condiments.
I love that. All right, let's picture the scene again. We've chosen our crispy, flaky base. We've added our melty cheese and our egg. The vendor has brushed on the sweet and spicy condiments.
It's almost ready.
Right. So how do we get this thing off the grill? This is actually my favorite part to watch. The vendor does something really surprising with their metal tools.
Yes, the final step in creating the pancake is almost like a physical performance. The vendor holds two metal spatulas. Those are the flat, shovel-like tools used for flipping food.
Okay, spatulas.
And instead of just folding the pancake neatly, they use the two spatulas to rapidly push the outer edges of the crispy dough toward the center.
They scrunch it. That is a really great English verb. To scrunch. S-C-R-U-N-C-H.
Scrunch, yes.
They scrunch the pancake together from the sides. But, you know, if I'm watching this for the very first time, I might think, why are you attacking my beautiful flat pastry? Aren't you crushing it?
It definitely looks like they're crushing it, but the physics of the scrunch are actually brilliant.
Where?
Remember all those dozens of thin, flaky layers we talked about earlier? The ones separated by the oil?
Right, the hidden layers inside the dough.
Exactly. When the vendor scrunches the dough inward from the sides, they aren't crushing those layers. They're forcing them to buckle and separate from each other.
Oh.
They're violently cracking the crispy outside so that the hot steam trapped inside can suddenly escape.
Ah, I see. So they're opening up tiny empty pockets of space inside the pancake, and that completely changes the texture.
It really does.
It takes this heavy, dense piece of oily dough and transforms it into something airy. A-I-R-Y. Airy.
Airy. That's the perfect word. It literally means the food contains a lot of air. It becomes light, fluffy, and delicate.
Wow.
Instead of biting into a solid brick of dough, you are biting into a cloud of crispy layers.
It really is a masterpiece of texture. You know, watching a skilled vendor work those two spatulas, like pushing in and pulling out, clack, clack, clack on the iron pan, it actually reminds me of a musician playing an accordion.
An accordion. Pushing in to compress the air and pulling out to release it. That's a very accurate comparison.
The vendor is basically playing a culinary instrument, you know? Pumping air into the bread to breathe life into it. Without that scrunching motion, it just wouldn't be a hand-shredded pancake.
No, it wouldn't. It's the defining action. It's what gives the dish its name and its signature lightness.
Okay, so the accordion solo is finished. We have our beautifully airy, crispy, doughy pancake wrapped tightly around our hot toppings and sauces.
The best part.
The vendor slides it into a small paper bag, or maybe a little plastic sleeve, and hands it to us. Now we have to talk about the culture of eating it, because this food is the ultimate on-the-go meal.
Yes. On the go. O-N dash THE-GO. On the go. This is an incredibly common English idiom, and it describes a very specific modern lifestyle.
How would you define it?
When you do something on the go, it means you are doing it while you are traveling, commuting, or actively moving from one place to another.
So you definitely aren't sitting down at a dining table with a plate and a fork and a napkin.
Exactly. Modern cities, especially fast-paced Chinese megacities, are busy. People have early morning subway commutes. They're riding bicycles.
Everyone's in a rush.
Right. They're rushing to get to the office or to school on time. They need a breakfast that matches that speed. And the shredded pancake is perfectly engineered for this.
Because of the wrapper.
Yes. Because it's wrapped in paper, you can hold the entire meal securely in one hand. You can take a bite while you're walking down the sidewalk or just waiting at a bus stop.
It's perfectly designed for busy lives. It actually makes me think about my own mornings. And, I'd love for you, our listener, to think about yours for a second. Do you have an on the go breakfast that you eat while commuting?
That's a great question for them.
Yeah. What is your favorite food to grab when you are in a rush? Take a second and think about how you would describe that food using our new English words. Is your breakfast flaky? Is it crispy? Does it have sweet condiments?
Connecting these new words to your own daily life is absolutely the best way to make them stick in your memory.
I completely agree. Now, because we want you to leave this deep dive with some practical tools you can use immediately, let's talk about how you would actually order this food.
Oh, role play. I like it.
Yeah. Imagine you are standing in line at a food stall or a cafe in an English-speaking country. How do you ask for what you want?
Well, it's simpler than you might think. You don't need highly formal language.
Yeah.
You just need to be clear and polite.
Right. So if I step up to the counter, I'd probably just say, I'd like a shredded pancake with an egg and extra lettuce, please. Is that natural?
It's perfectly natural. Starting with I'd like, which is short for I would like, is the standard polite way to request anything.
Okay, I'd like.
Yeah. I'd like a coffee, or I'd like a pancake. It's polite, but still very casual.
What if I have a specific request about the condiments, though? Like, I know that chili paste is great, but sometimes I don't want it smeared all over my food because it makes the crispy layers soggy. How do I ask for the sauce separately?
Ah, for that, you would use the phrase on the side. You could say, can I have the spicy sauce on the side?
On the side. That is so useful. So that means the vendor will put the sauce in a separate little plastic cup or container instead of putting it inside the pancake itself.
Exactly. That way you can dip the pancake into the sauce yourself whenever you want.
It gives you total control.
I love that. Okay, here's one more situation. I love my food super crunchy. I want the absolute maximum textural contrast. How do I ask the vendor to leave it on that hot pan just a minute longer?
You can just ask them directly about the texture. You could simply say, make it extra crispy, please.
Make it extra crispy, please. That works for anything, right? Like French fries, bacon, pancakes.
Yep, it's a universal request for anyone who loves that crunch.
Awesome. So we've really journeyed through the entire life cycle of this amazing street food today.
We covered a lot of ground.
We did. We started at a sizzling hot pan, learning about how trapped steam creates a flaky texture and why high heat gives us a crispy outside and a soft, doughy inside.
All those great vocabulary words.
Yes. We explored how to build a complete meal using solid toppings for substance and liquid condiments for flavor. We marveled at the vendor's accordion-like scrunching technique that makes the dough airy and light.
The scrunch.
The scrunch. And finally, we saw how the convenient paper wrapper makes it the perfect food for an on-the-go, busy city lifestyle. It really is a remarkable journey for just a simple piece of dough. And, as we wrap up our conversation today, I want to leave our listeners with one broader thought to consider.
Oh, definitely. What is it?
Well, we spend a lot of time focusing on the ingredients and the vocabulary, but think about the hidden story that foods like the shredded pancake tell about a city's morning rhythm.
What do you mean by the city's rhythm?
Well, think about who stands in line at that street stall at, say, 6:30 in the morning. You have students in their uniforms, businessmen in suits, construction workers, and maybe grandparents out for an early walk.
Everyone, basically.
Right. For a few minutes in the cold morning air, smelling that hot oil, they're all participating in the exact same daily ritual.
Wow, I never thought of it like that.
Yeah. This simple, humble mixture of flour, water, and heat, combined with the fast pace of city life, creates a shared experience. It silently connects millions of different people before the sun is even fully up.
I really love that perspective. It's not just a quick breakfast to fill your stomach. It's a shared cultural heartbeat that wakes the whole city up. It's a moment of community, just on the go.
Exactly. Food is never just food. It's language, it's science, and it's culture.
Thank you so much for exploring all of that with me today. And thank you, our listener, for joining us on this deep dive. We really hope you enjoyed this slower conversational style of practicing your English listening
It
skills.
was a pleasure. Keep practicing, everyone.
If you learned some new vocabulary today, or, if you just found yourself getting incredibly hungry for a flaky, crispy pancake, please remember to like this video, share it with your friends who are also learning English, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss a delicious lesson. Until next time, keep practicing your English, keep tasting new things, and never forget the magic of a hot, sizzling street corner.